What up? What's good? What's happening with my people? It's your man, Dramedy Drew. You know what it is. You know what we do. It's Vibe Wichita. I'm here with my man, LT. How you feeling?
Yeah. You already know, man. I'm feeling great.
LT, man. Nah, never mind. I ain't going to do that to you again, bro. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it to you. I'm not this time. Normally, I'll be like, yo, LT, so who's our guest today? And sometimes, like, when he comes in, you know, we don't go over the name, or, you know, you're not sure who's, you know, so I don't want you butchering it today.
Right. And then I heard somebody else say it and they ain't say it right. Or they got married since the last time. So, yeah.
Shout out to Deasia on that one, man. Deasia Davis. Anyway, today we got a special guest that's sitting down with us. Glad we finally got her to come and just have a conversation with us. We have the infamous Mamarazzi, a.k.a. Tijuana. Hardwell.
Yep.
Yes.
You got it.
Yes. How are you feeling today, though?
I'm doing good. Doing good.
Man, so glad that you finally got to come sit down with us. Once again, your magazine, I'm going to just go right off the bat. Your magazine is something special for the city.
Thank you.
What sparked that idea for you to actually start it?
Well, I've known since I was middle school that I was interested in writing, and on to high school was the editor-in-chief of South High's newspaper.
Oh, for sure.
The Torch. But even during my college years over at WSU, Elliott School of Communication, I knew that I wanted to do niche marketing. So I wanted to tap into something that was not being served. And I felt like with the Wichita artists, they didn't really have an outlet or a platform to be able to, explain who they are as artists. And so I definitely wanted to be able to do that, also focus on community and small business owners. And so I came up with Mamarazzi.
All right, man. See, when I found out about it, because there was an interview you did with another podcast, and I finally got to learn about it. You have a top 10 list.
Yeah.
Now, how did you come up with that?
Let's correct that.
Oh,
a 10 to watch.
10 to watch.
10
list.
to watch.
Okay. Now, how did you come up? Like, what was the process in coming up with that?
Well, what I wanted to do is there were some artists who had blown me away or impressed me with some of the different unique things that they were doing, even on an independent artist level. And so I wanted to bring attention to these particular artists. And everybody has these lists. You always see people getting into it on Facebook because people say, who do you think are the top 10 Wichita artists? Well, I didn't want to do anything that would be divisive. I later found out that people even consider 10 to watch divisive. But I just wanted to really highlight 10 artists, who are doing remarkable things. Maybe it's their street promotions, their social media grind, going into the radio stations or coming out just with really great music that is, almost forced to be on radio. And so that's the gist of 10 to watch, and that's why I decided to do that.
Absolutely, man. So what I like about your 10 to watch is that it motivates those who aren't, it's your decision ultimately, I take it.
Of course.
So who haven't made that list, gives them something to work towards. You know, you have the double XL freshman, whatnot, which in the last few years it's been kind of, however, it does motivate those artists that are around, I
would like to think so. I know that every time the 10 to watch comes out, you have artists who, hop into your inbox. And a lot of times they're wanting to know, what is it, that is a requirement to being 10 to watch? What does it take for me to become 10 to watch? And usually I am able to give them helpful advice, not just as it relates to 10 to watch, but just things that I may be seeing that they need to do a little better with, ideas or concepts that I maybe have for them, because that is something that throughout the years I've worked with a number of artists, and so being able to kind of see it from that viewpoint. And so what a lot of people don't know is they think that I'm just someone who does this. I study this. This is my life. I research it. I study the market. I study with what artists are doing on a mainstream level. So I'm not just coming out of nowhere with it whatsoever. So with doing 10 to watch, I would hope that artists aspire to have that type of recognition, but they also have to understand that, you know, with that platform, there's people who maybe feel like you don't deserve to be on 10 to Watch. So they're looking to see what you're going to be doing after you become 10 to Watch.
For sure. So I probably should ask this first. What does your magazine consist of as far as, okay, well, we discussed that. We discussed the with the artist, the music, the hip hop scene.
Yes.
But what else does it consist of?
It's really anything that is an independent grind, anything that's small business.
Right.
You know, I've also interviewed community leaders as well. You know, we are looking to do a sports edition here really, really soon.
I like that.
Because we've not really tapped on that. But I am looking to do a sports issue as well. Even hairstylists, barbers have been in there. You name it. Anybody who's doing anything to, you know, to better themselves or doing anything in any type of profession or, you know, maybe someone's mentoring young people. I've had former gang members who have, you know, turned their lives around, you know, gone into more positive, productive lives. And so they've been in there as well. So.
I like this.
It's a mix of everything.
I like this. For those of y'all who may not know, if you don't know, you know now. Mamarazzi magazine, the entertainment magazine, this is something that to me is really big for our city. It's really big. It makes our city in a way like it gives us some type of exclusivity that we have a magazine like this that's letting people know, hey, this is what's happening in this realm here in Wichita. Small business, music, fashion, things like that. I think it was such a great idea. I feel it like it's I'm surprised that no one's tried to come after you and knock you off with you know, maybe something of their own.
Well, what I will say is, you know, throughout the years, there's been people who come to me and they want the recipe, you know, so they come to me and they're wanting to know what is it, you know, how do you go about doing this? And I do provide tips. I mean, I don't see it as a competitive type of thing. Right. There's some artists who I feature in the magazine, but I also recognize and understand that, you know, the more avenues there are, the more exposure it is just in general for Wichita artists or anyone doing any type of business or community involvement in the city. So I don't see it as competition. And there are other magazines that have you know, kind of gotten you know, underway. And so support, power to them, absolutely. But I know you know, that I am definitely in my own lane. I know what I contribute. Absolutely. I know exactly what's going on with Mamarazzi Entertainment Magazine and what I offer there. And I say that very humbly, that this is not something that I just thought to do overnight. This has been a lifelong thing. And this was not my my very first magazine. Yeah. I actually had it funded back years ago, and it was called From the Streets Magazine. And so I actually had that funded from a Mix It Up grant back in the day. And my very first interview was with Donovan XV Johnson. Oh, wow. And that was his very first interview. So I've been at this a very, very long time. Wow. So
you have the experience, you have the resume.
Absolutely.
For sure. So how did you get the name Mamarazzi? I wanted to ask you that.
Yeah. And so, you know, for years, I've always enjoyed looking at tabloids, reading about celebrity and entertainment news.
Right.
But I always saw, you know, just when you think about paparazzi.
Right.
You know, it's a male dominant type of thing. But I feel as though I still, you know, possess the ambition, the poise. I'm going to ask the hard hitting questions. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to get you your story. And so I wanted to make that very much about me and women's empowerment. That's what I'm all about. And so just, you know, flipping that, and instead of paparazzi, it's Mamarazzi.
Mamarazzi, and it's different, very original. Yeah, I love it.
It's something that, and there is a Mamarazzi movie that I didn't know about for a while. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's something that's memorable, so you always remember it. And for the record, I know a lot of people call me Mamarazzi, but that was never my intention when I decided to name the magazine Mamarazzi. But it's taken on life of its own, and so.
Now,
I'm okay with it.
Okay,
I'm okay with
okay.
it. I'm absolutely no. I embrace it now. I embrace it.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, they put a name with the face, and that's how.
So
you,
now I take ownership of it. But when I very first started out, I hadn't conceived that's that would be a personality you kind of take on. So.
For sure. Now, what has been one of the biggest challenges having this magazine? Oh, there goes a hard hitting question. What have been one of the biggest challenges you've stumbled across with this?
With doing the magazine, I think that, it's great. Every artist thinks that they are the best to ever do it.
For sure.
On top of Pac, on top of Biggie, on top of Jay-Z, they are the best that has ever done it. And that's just a piece of, just hip hop culture. It's, supposed to be very much about the bravado. And so that's great and amazing. But when they come to you and they say, I want the cover of the magazine, or can I buy the cover of the magazine, which my magazine is not up for sale. Right. You cannot buy the cover of the magazine because it takes away the credibility of the magazine. But, so having to deal with that, having to decide, like, do I take the time to kind of instruct, to kind of give this feedback? And then 9 times out of 10, you're dealing with an artist, who's looking to get in the magazine, but they might not have a video. They might not have music that's out. Or you ask them to send you music.
Right.
You ask them to send you music, and they send you about 20 tracks, and then you say,
themselves. Yeah.
You say, so which one are you gonna choose to push? Oh, this is all my old music.
Oh, okay. So you wasted my time.
So I think for me, especially early on with the magazine, of course, getting my feet wet and doing this, I struggle with time management. So now I make a conscious effort to filter. So I do a bunch of filtering through on stuff. Artists don't know, but I look at Facebook. I look to see if you're promoting there. I look at other social media. If you're telling me that you pack out shows, but you have 200, 500 friends on Facebook, not really believable. So things like that. I think that, and I say that not being rude about it whatsoever, but it's because you do have to filter through that. And that's not to say that artist won't eventually. There's artists who I said, I maybe didn't say no to them, but I basically was like, no. And I waited, and, even a year or two later, I'm like, they're ready now. So
right. Absolutely.
So that's probably been the toughest thing.
Well, I'm gonna stick to that response there. Who has been who has turned out to be probably the, how could I say that? Who's probably turned out to be the best artist that you've dealt with?
Well, XV was on the cover.
Okay.
So
shout out to
XV was on the cover. And so we've both been doing this for a long time. And so XV was on there, but I've even enjoyed like watching Samuel David or Big Sam. I've enjoyed watching his progress and development as an artist. And so being able to see an artist like that grow, and I've featured him a number of times, or he gets name dropped by other artists in the magazine. So just watching his growth has been really exciting for me. So.
Have you checked out his new video?
Oh, I have. So I purchased it like weeks ago, but I had heard it even prior to then.
Right.
And so I just think that is a fire track. What? You've got 3 people holding their own on that track. Yes. So it's exciting. My daughter, she you got to give me that clean version though. Right. My daughter loves it.
Yeah, I called up the radio station today, and I was like, "Yo, man, y'all, this time y'all let's do something for Wichita." You know what I'm saying? All right, so I had another question about the as far something that maybe you've run into in the magazine. Have you had people try to buy you out, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, you always have someone offering like, hey, $500.
Right.
I got it right now. Can I, can I get that? And that seems tempting just because cash is always tempting. But it's like you can't do it because it just. It chews away at the credibility. And so there's, people who I maybe went to high school with, or they're friends of a friend or friends of one of my siblings. You don't get in the magazine just because I know you. And so that, that's where there's a lot of pressure to really hold on to the brand, hold on to, some set of standards.
Right.
You have to have some set of standards for what you look for before they're ready to have that platform. So
for sure.
That's very important. I studied journalism and stuff too. So I just recently seen something about Tom considering selling ad space on the cover and stuff. So I'm like, really? So it eats away at the credibility. It's ridiculous.
I think it does. I think it does. And if I allowed just artists who purchase the cover, nobody's checking for that.
No.
I gotta sell the magazine too, so you can buy can buy the cover,
Very
and I'm
true.
still stuck
Very true.
having to sell the magazine or promote it, and I have to be able to stand behind it. So
I was very excited that I got to make a cameo in her magazine when
Powerball.
the Powerball event. Man, I knew I looked fly. But the worst part was my wife wasn't there. But I was like, man, I'm fly. I got my wife. Couple pictures. I was excited. And I'm like, well, let me check out her previous magazines. Let me see what else she has going on here. Like, I don't know if y'all understand how big this really is. This magazine is very major for our city. That the people talk about, hey, we got to do something different out here. What else can we do? We got a magazine. We got artists that are actually good. We got podcasts out here.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? We got I don't know, man. We can keep going. We got other businesses. We have a young person running for City Council District 1. You know what I'm saying? We're making
all
moves.
of those
we have
things.
Young models out here. Before it was just MAYB basketball and old people. I don't know what else to say. Like that was it. And WSU. But now I feel like the city's starting to get traction and do things like that.
And so when people speak about like the competitive, piece of that, like if someone else was to come out with a magazine, I don't feel competition whatsoever.
Right.
And that's not arrogant. I'm excited about Vibe Wichita. I'm excited about all of these other avenues for not just artists, but people in general to be able to, promote themselves. I'm excited about that, genuinely excited about it. So it's never, one of those things that
that never even crossed my mind. I was so excited. I'm like, yo, we just gotta get her on here and talk about this magazine. I'm so excited about just the growth here.
Yeah.
I grew up on the West Coast and I come out here and it's not that it was like, yo, man, Wichita is boring or anything. I'm like, yo, how can I make Wichita better? Yeah. How can I help do something like this? So, I made a post the other day. I had a $40 mic and an idea and I just put it to work.
See?
You know what I'm saying? And you start to see the fruits of your labor. And I know you get to witness that. Now, fashion. What are you tapping in fashion? Is it the Wichita fashion or is it fashion in like look who's dressed the best or what is that?
I'm excited about the Wichita-based clothing brands. That's just something that's exciting, and then to be able to begin seeing that on mainstream artists, to be able to start seeing that everywhere, like with Not Human, Mute Haters clothing brand. Being able to see so many of these different brands out there, that's always exciting. And so,
for sure.
In terms of that, other than that, my fashion, I do a lot of shopping online, if not in the city, but I always try to support. And now that Felicia Thompson,
man, yes.
Hey, now that she's doing plus size,
shout out to Two Beats Boutique.
Yes,
she is killing the game. I love it, man. Support. I love that, and it goes full circle. Now, how can one, I guess you would say, I'm speaking for entrepreneurs and people who have their own businesses. Is there a way for them to advertise in your magazine?
Yeah, they can absolutely advertise. All they have to do is contact me. So I share it on Facebook, but also MamarazziMagazine.com also has the information on there. And again, I work with everyone. I understand a small business that is getting up and going might not necessarily have the flow or the revenue. Right. I work with them. It's just about being able to allow that platform for them to be able to promote and push themselves. Yeah, I've done so much free as well because it's all about providing that opportunity, and then and they're just like shocked that I'm like allowing this, but it's like, look, I see you trying to get going with this business, right? So I'm like, I've got the space, I wait till the end, like a production, and I'm like, oh, I've got the space. Let me contact them. Sometimes people are shocked when I contact them just to give it to them for free. And those people end up turning around and purchasing ad space when they're on their feet, just doing good in business.
Went on there and blessed somebody, Hey, y'all, that does not mean trying to approach her to get a free spot or to give her that sob story. You know what I'm saying? I know how y'all be. That's dope. So where's where do we get the magazine?
Well, I am actually in the process of getting some other locations. In the past, they've been at, what I try to do also is, if I have a barber who's in the magazine one issue, I allow him to be the distributor. If I have a clothing brand that's in there, I allow them to be the distributor that month. And so that's been great. But I'm really trying to, my best, I continue to still do print copies just because people love to be able to pass it around or have that, especially if they're featured in it. But I really want to move us to digital. And I want to get us into a pattern like the rest of the world of being able to share it, be able to share it, be able to, to make things trend by utilizing the digital format of the magazine. So I want them to be able to share it with people outside of Wichita, outside of the state of Kansas. So it's hard. Trying to gravitate them to that.
How frequently do you put out issues?
It's roughly every 8 weeks. Every 8 weeks. It would be much easier if I were not the only staff. So that makes it hard. So,
we get it.
So turnaround time. But I still think that that's adequate enough for me to be able to promote and really push an issue that's just recently been released. So it's adequate time for Wichita.
Now, do you discuss anything that's like trending topics or current events or anything in the magazine like that?
Yeah, from time to time, we do that. I remember, I hate to even bring it up because I feel like he's trying so hard to escape it, but the Chris Brown Rihanna.
Right.
And so that was hot topic. I've been doing this magazine since 2011, and I can't recall really when that happened. I think it might have been that year, because I remember discussing that and allowing debate and allowing people to write in about their opinions on that. And so that was pretty cool to be able to do. And then with other trends as they happen, but I try to keep it based in Wichita. I've thought even about doing, I don't want to call it a gossip column.
Right. Okay.
But I tend to know about stuff before it happens. Sometimes months ahead of time, just because I network with so many people. So I hear about a lot of stuff months before anybody else does. I've heard about stuff even a year before. I was there when Lil Scrappy got the phone call from Love and Hip Hop. I was there in the hotel room doing the interview. Had two other people with me, and we were interviewing him. Super laid back interview, and Love and Hip Hop kept calling him to convince him to do the show before he even decided to do it. And he was like, man, he was like, they're trying to get me to do reality. I'm not really trying to do that. I'm not trying to be on the clown stuff.
Yeah.
And look at him now, Mr. Love and Hip Hop. So. So that was just cool to be able to be there. Right. And it's a funny story about that because he had agreed to do it. I had set it up. DJ 3 assisted me with that, of course. And so, because they hosted him when he came to Pandora at the time. And so I had been chatting with his manager. His manager tells me the room number to go to, and he was like, he'll be ready at this time. Go and do the interview. Well, I go and knock on the door. And no one answers. And so I'm like, hey, I text the manager and I'm like, hey, he's not answering. He's like, go back, he's there. I go and knock again. He still does not answer it. I go and stand in the hallway with my friend. And Scrappy walks by in socks, no shoes, just walking through this hotel room. And he's on the phone. And he's on the phone, and I'm respecting the fact that he's on the phone. So, of course, I, kind of go like this, like, hey, it's me. He must have thought I was some groupie or something. He must have thought I was some groupie because he was like, kind of like, leave me alone, right? So I tweeted him instead because I was like, I don't do that. I'm not about to follow you around. Look, we had an agreement to do an interview. So he had walked on. I don't know where he went because, like I said, he didn't have shoes on. He was just in socks. Right. And so I tweeted him and I was like, hey, Scrappy, I'm here at the hotel. That was me. I'm trying to do your interview. And he DMs me and he's like, I'm so sorry. He's like, I didn't know. And he's like, I was on the phone or whatever. I don't know where he went. But anyway, eventually we went elsewhere to go wait. And then he had made it back to his room, told us that he was ready. And so we went there and conducted the interview. And it was good. But to be able to be there when he's getting the phone calls. Like they were blowing up that phone. They really wanted him to be a part of that.
Monumental right there.
Yeah, it was super cool.
Man. Now if they blew your phone up to be on the show, would you be on it?
Of course. I don't know I don't know that I have enough.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't, my drama. I was gonna say I ain't got enough drama, but I got enough drama.
But I'm really excited that you came and you joined us today.
Thank you.
Tijuana Hardwell, everyone. LT, appreciate you being an awesome co-host today. Now I know you're hanging in there. It's kind of hot in here though.
Hey, man. See, look, I studied journalism, so my questions would be boring.
I don't think they'll be boring.
About journalistic integrity and all that.
It would be boring.
Oh, so okay. Well, y'all can do that off air then. That's for sure. All right. Well, Tijuana, we appreciate you.
Thank you so very much.
Here.
I really
How can we reach
appreciate
you?
it.
How can we reach you? Find you?
Mamarazzimagazine.com. Also, Mamarazzi Entertainment Magazine on Facebook.
Right.
Or at the Mamarazzi. So.
Absolutely. Y'all check that out. Mamarazzi Entertainment Magazine. Y'all stay locked in. It's Vibe Wichita.
Thank you.
You know what we do around this time?
The voice of the dub has spoken. Thanks for hanging with us and tuning in to Vibe Wichita.
Act like y'all know.
Peace.